I mean, they already have tuition-free college. They have free healthcare. They got all different things that we as Black Americans don't get. And y'all gonna sit here and accept somebody giving your reparations check to somebody that's killing babies? Is something wrong? Is something wrong with y'all? Because for me, I don't want reparations money to go to somebody that's committing a Holocaust. I don't come to us to keep us going, to help us thrive. But some it don't sit right with me.
We need to stop giving her access. Like, we know that AOC would never support RBN, but at what point does she become persona non grata and she not even invited to these events? Because remember, and this is what you tweeted about, Savvy, AOC was taking pictures with Chris Smalls. Every single Democratic politician was giving shout out to Chris Smalls. And I don't blame Chris Smalls for taking advantage of that, because his entire goal was to drive up support. I know some people are critical of that, but I understand his mentality was to accept the support of everyone who supported him. Criticize that or not, I understand it. I understand his mentality. But moving forward, how about left-wing movements bar these people and stop allowing these politicians to use our movement for clout? Just something to think about. Now, this is related because we talk about Israel treatments of Chris Smalls, and this is related to the starvation in Gaza. Now, you guys know, despite the fact that Israel is engaged in starvation as a tool of war, which is a war crime, we have Democratic senators who are voting to arm the state of Israel, which is direct violation of the Leahy's law. When you send weapons and ammunition to a country that you know is violating or committing a war crime, like using starvation as a tool of war, that makes you complicit, and that makes you a war criminal. Cory Booker being one of the many examples of the people I'm talking about in the Black Congressional Caucus. Fine, I would say maybe Lindsey Graham is the only person who's more of a neocon, but other than the Lindsey Graham tier, you won't find anyone who's a bigger neocon than the people in the Black Congressional Caucus. Show me a bigger neocon than Hakeem Jeffries. Show me a bigger neocon than Jim Clyburn. And it's been wild to watch this in my entire adult life, ever since the election of Barack Obama, watching the Black community shift to the right. Why? Because they got to justify why Barack Obama destroyed Libya. They had to justify why Barack Obama is the drone strike king. And their mind was rotted by neoliberalism, so all they have is identity politics. So instead of organizing among class, they want to organize among this Black leader and take satisfaction out of that. So in order to apologize for Obama, you have to support war. That is what shifted the entirety of the boomers to the right. People like Cory Booker, all these Black bourgeoisie. I wouldn't even say, let me rephrase that. I think it would be better for me to say the Black capitalist class, more instead of Black boomers. I will correct myself there. The Black capitalist class, if you talk to the Black bourgeois, they love Ukraine and hate Russia. They love Nazis. They hate Nicolas Maduro. Ask any Black person why they hate Nicolas Maduro. Oh no. Ask Hakeem Jeffries. He can't stand him. Anyway, let me get to this video. I'm kind of going on here. Here's Cory Booker pretending that he's some sort of resistance to Donald Trump. I'm going to start here because I think this is funny. And Cory Booker was like, I don't think Democrats are doing enough to oppose Donald Trump as he is arming this genocide.
The Democratic Party needs a wake-up call.
Need a wake-up call.
I see law firms bending a knee to this president, not caring about the larger principles, that those free speech rights, that you could take on any client. Why are you bending the knee? I see universities that should be bastions of free speech bending at the knee to this president. I see businesses taking late night talk show hosts off the air because they dare to insult a president. I see people who want mergers suddenly think that they have to pay tribute to this president.
This is what counts as the Democratic Party resistance. As Cory Booker said, we need Democrats to stand up against Trump. You are supporting Trump and his ambitions of purging Gaza and ethnically cleansing Gaza. So as Cory Booker is doing these theatrical, hilarious, cringeworthy speeches, I'm standing up against Trump. We gotta stand up against fascism. Look at who is that on that list there? These 17 Senate Democrats just voted with every Senate Republican to continue sending weapons so Israel can commit a genocide. Who is that right there? Cory Booker.
Hey, Nick, I got to say this. Why in the hell did Cory Booker sound like he was a WWE wrestler that was speaking? He was like, "Why are you bending the knee when I was an Intercontinental Champion of the WWE? We never bent the knee to these neocons, except for when we came to Netanyahu, when he actually came here, and we actually had to give him all the money that we want. But we didn't do that." You know,
we need someone to put a title on JB, bro. JB need a push, bro. That's one hell of a promo you just cut, sir. Now, Cory Booker is amazing. I'll put JB. I'll put the title on JB after that one. So Cory Booker is the perfect. He's one of my favorite politicians to make fun of, because what do my nerdy ass always tell you guys? You guys don't know I'm a nerd. I got a lot of family members. I'm in the fucking Midwest, guys. There's a lot of people like pro wrestling where I live. And when I see politics, how many times have I used this example that the American politics is just fucking WWE for unathletic people, Hollywood for ugly people? So let's play more of this. This is the person who's standing up against Trump. He voted for it to send
people who want mergers suddenly think that they have to pay tribute to this president.
Sorry, I think this is funny.
And what are the very people here elected to defend the Constitution of the United States saying, oh, well, today, let's look the other way and pass some resources that won't go to Connecticut, that won't go to Illinois, that won't go to New York.
You, sir, are violating the Constitution by sending weapons to a genocidal war criminal state. And then he said, oh my God, Donald Trump is redirecting funds that should go to disenfranchised communities. That's what you're doing, sir. You are sending billions of dollars to Israel as the Black community is starving, as we have a record amount of medical debt, as a record amount of Black Americans are homeless. You are deciding to arm a genocidal apartheid state, and you're accusing Donald Trump of mishandling funds. So I'm sorry, I have to do a little bit of Cory Bush bashing, but he's not the only Democrat that voted for this. But hey, this segment wouldn't be a segment if I didn't fucking bash Cory Booker at least a little bit. Because no one else on this list should be like any surprising. Chuck Schumer, he's the guy who said his job is to keep the left pro-Israel. This is all the known neocons, John Fetterman, the Vanguard's favorite senator, Christy Gillibrand, Hickenlooper. None of this stuff is surprising. This is the Democratic Party, a neocon party. And if it makes you feel a little bit better, because I have to show you guys something that at least make this segment a little bit more enjoyable, instead of seeing how we have these genocidal parties that think they're going to get away with this. And I know you guys seen it too. And it's shown, it's not only just empirical evidence, not only just what we are seeing among our community, it is shown in the numbers with record amount of Democrats. These Karens, the people who voted for Amy Klobuchar in the primaries, for example, even they're like, hey man, I don't think we should be fucking arming Israel. I believe the number. I need to dig it. I think like 70% of Democrats like I support an arms embargo. Meanwhile, the Democrats are doing the exact opposite. While they're making grandstanding speeches against Donald Trump, pretending they're doing anything. So what is the result of this? What is the result of a party running on and supporting genocide? They thought that people would forgive them because of their Trump derangement syndrome. That is not happening. So as Donald Trump is historically unpopular too, you have Democrats that are even more unpopular than Donald Trump. It's almost like supporting a genocide. It's political suicide, Sabby, JB. I'll read this headline. Democrats gets lowest rating from voters in 35 years. And AOC and Bernie Sanders private jet funded tour to help revive the Democratic Party accomplished nothing. The Democratic Party brand is cooked. coming from the Rolling Stones. And I'm going to share this because I have to get some props and some love to one of our comrades here, Mark, who went to Chantel Brown, another member of the Black Congressional Caucus. Isn't it funny how all things keep leading to these psychotic Black neocons? For example, if people think I'm hard on the Zionist Jewish community, you guys should have seen what I said about these Black neocons, bro. What I've been saying about them for the last few years. So this is how I'm gonna end my segment because there's still a lot more to. I want to give you guys thoughts, but this is Mark calling out Chantel Brown, and I want to highlight his great activism here, calling her out for supporting genocide.
IRS refund with a small business loan with Medicare or Social Security, please contact my office. We are here to help.
When can I get back the money you've been sending to Israel? When am I going to get back? Oh, when are you going to give back the money that you've been sending to Israel? You have been voting to give my tax dollars to Israel to commit Palestinian genocide.
And my question, I'm going to let it continue. Why isn't everyone as angry as that? Because that's how I view it. I view it as these Black traitors in the ruling class and these people who are representing us, they are betraying us in historic fashion.
Nick,
Sabby, go ahead. I think you're on mute. Go ahead, Sabby, if you want to chime in. Feel free.
Nick, look at how many people are in that room.
Let's go. Let's look for some freeze frames.
And notice it's mainly older people.
Oh man, Democrats are cooked. Look at that gray.
Yeah.
This is like Bernie Sanders. His rallies. Remember, his rallies was full of MSNBC watching boomers. But sorry, Sabby, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, because I'll show this video again tonight too. It's really, by the way, I think that he said on his thread that he was encouraged by Jose, by Jose.
Yeah, Jose has done a lot of great work, man. He inspired a lot of people for doing this kind of direct action. Here's Jose. He said, bro, you're my inspiration. But let's continue the video. I'll let it play all the way through. I'll stop it when they pull him out because I want to at least show the direct action here, and then I'll get JB in here as well.
IRS refund with a small business loan with Medicare or Social Security, please contact my office. We are here to help.
When can I get back the money you've been sending to Israel? When am I going to give back? Oh, when are you going to give back the money that you've been sending to Israel? You have been voting to give my tax dollars to Israel to commit Palestinian genocide. You are a paid puppet of Israel. There are babies dying right now in Palestine, because of the votes that you've been making the past 2 years. You are as evil as Donald Trump.
Go that way for me.
I am a constituent of this district, and then why are you letting them take me like this?
You wait a little while in the program, so we'll get to that, sir. Thank you.
They're not going to get to that. So I'm in here because at this point you just see the cop lecture him, and he do the defense of the establishment. But why is it upon him to be civil as you're supporting the starvation and the murdering of children? Well, sorry, I give you guys the Savvy JB. I'll let you guys chime in. Feel free.
Well, I just want to say this. For any of the Black people that, especially Black Americans, that are, sitting there supporting these Democrat politicians, I have a question for you. Why in the world are you so willing to accept that Israel's getting our reparations money? They already have tuition-free college. They have free healthcare. They got all different things that we as Black Americans don't get. And y'all gonna sit here and accept somebody giving your reparations check to somebody that's killing babies? Is something wrong? Is something wrong with y'all? Because for me, I don't want reparations money to go to somebody that's committing a Holocaust. I don't come to us to keep us going, to help us thrive. But some it don't sit right with me, because you guys are sitting here protecting, rallying around, and and I'm gonna use this in the full sense, circling the wagons, because that's damn near as colonial as hell, around black white supremacists, because that's what they are. Let's call a thing, because if Zionism is white supremacy, and if you have black people protecting Zionism, guess what they are? Black white supremacists, right? You have, it's the same, they're basically what you would see on a Dave Chappelle skit. So my question is, why are you so willing to allow them to give our reparations check to Israel? Or if you guys had, say, Slava Ukraine, when there was a whole bunch of Nazis in Ukraine and how they treated black people in Ukraine, you got something right with y'all. Y'all been drinking the Kool-Aid and not the good kind. So this is why I think it is important for us to stand with people who are marginalized, because it doesn't make any damn sense for y'all to talk about, oh, well, you guys should have voted for Kamala Harris. This wouldn't have happened. No, it definitely would have happened. All of the black people that are going, oh, this wouldn't happen under Kamala Harris. You're smoking something and it ain't the good stuff. That's one of the biggest issues that I have with a lot of black people, especially black liberals, and also you black conservatives that are sitting there talking about, oh, well, this is what we voted for. We voted for Donald Trump. Guess what? You're also complicit in a Holocaust. And everybody that goes, oh, well, I would have stood up against the Holocaust that happened in the 1930s and 40s. Would you? Wait, hang on. Let me say this. Would you have been on the side of our ancestors during the Civil War? Because we had a Holocaust going on here for Black Americans. And guess what? We have a Holocaust going over there. And y'all ain't saying shit. So that leads me to believe that y'all wouldn't be on the side of us during the Civil War. Because who was being murdered? Babies, children, women, men being massacred here in the United States because they share the same skin color as us. Well, you got brown people babies being murdered, starved, women and children and men being murdered, rape, mass sexual assault, all that stuff happening over there, and you guys are staying silent. Are we being human or are we just cheering for a team? Wake up, y'all. Because this is the point.
Very well said, JP. One thing I want to mention is, well, you notice how we are seeing Democratic senators who voted against armed shipments to Israel, who voted for it under Joe Biden. Why do you think that is? You guys see how the Democratic Party is the most effective evil? Because the Joe Biden and the Biden administration was whipping votes for genocide. CNN wasn't covering any stories about Palestinians being murdered. I've covered how Palestinians was being assaulted at aid locations ever since the start of this conflict. But CNN just now discovered it. So you got to see how Democrats and liberals only start caring about stuff under a Republican president. But not only that, the Democratic president is usually so much better at committing evil than the rookie Donald Trump, who can't even get his own base in line. Like, Biden's like, look at this fucking rookie. He can't even get his base to support genocide. But you have Biden, who whips support in the media. He trains the media to repeat his lines, and he trains senators to whip vote for a genocidal state, which would not be possible under the Republican Party. So, guys, I would never in a million years undermine the evil of the Republican Party and the evil of Donald Trump. But I really need you guys to listen to our brother Glenn Ford, who explained that the Democratic Party is the most effective evil. I look at Donald Trump; he's a stupid puppet who Putin is playing like a fiddle. All his enemies playing like a fiddle. They are amateurs compared to what someone like Amy Klobuchar will pull off. Can you imagine what that nerd would have accomplished? But Stabby, I think you want to chime in. Do you want to chime in, Stabby? I'll pass it to you.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's definitely partisan, because another thing that we were covering too, it was independent media we were the ones that were showing you guys the videos of the IDF soldiers burning aid on the aid trucks. That was happening under Biden's administration. Yep. We were talking about that. CNN and MSNBC, they weren't talking about that. Fox News wasn't covering it again, to protect, because Democratic Party, to protect them. But notice how everybody got on message. Like now that it's under Donald Trump, everybody is calling out, oh, we can't starve these children. But they didn't say anything about that when the children were being starved under Biden, but it was independent media that was covering that.
Yeah, Sabby, under Joe Biden, liberals were saying stuff like, hey, can you define genocide? Define ethnic cleansing. You got to see when a Democrat is in charge, all these professional, managerial, liberal nerds, they play lawyer for the government in order to justify their support. If there's a Republican, especially they hate the Republican, there's no need for them to play legal gaslighting tricks. This is why Malcolm X said that these liberals like fucking, they're like tricky. They're foxes. They're manipulative, and they get evil accomplished in a much more effective way than we see the clown Republicans who are just so out in the open. There's a giant coalition that leads against them. Even Trump's MAGA base, and this will be the last thing I'll share because I think this kind of fed our conversation. This is a real quick few things I want to show you guys. On the theme of Americans turning against Israel, even Donald Trump is like, hey man, it's kind of hard to sell this. Look, Trump said, and this came out today, Trump said apparently to Jewish donors that MAGA world is starting to hate Israel. You don't fucking say.
That's big.
Yeah. Sabi, that is big because now you got Donald Trump acknowledging this elephant in the room. Because we was almost like, man, are we being gaslit? Because we looking at MAGA reactions to Trump and Israel. And I'm like, is it because of my algorithm? Like, I don't know if it's real. But if it's coming from the big man himself, you know they got internal polling. They were seeing the reactions from their base. This is very, like you said, Sabi, this is huge. And I have a hotspot video on this subject coming out. That's why I don't have to dive too deep into this. I released it already on Exit. I'm going to show it on my Naked Night program tomorrow. But Donald Trump is essentially threatening a trade war against Canada because Canada is recognizing a Palestinian state. So you want to know what Donald Trump is saying to the American people? Make America great again by forcing Americans to pay more for goods, pay more in food and gas in order to protect his favorite genocidal apartheid state in the Middle East. How does that make America great again? So there's a lot of these right-wing accounts. Look, sorry, friends, gonna have to pay for more gas and groceries because Canada is doing something Israel doesn't like, and we all know who actually runs this country. And I'm gonna show you some more. Like this, a lot of these MAGA accounts are going hard at Trump. Trump says the trade deal with Canada probably won't work because they recognize Palestine as a state. Is Trump the most Israel compromised president in history? He worked for them at the expense of America. And China calling it as it is. This be the last thing I'll read, and then I'll back to you, JB. China is like, hey man, do you guys see that your president is a puppet? China is like baffled whenever they see United States politics. They're like, hey, do you guys realize that he is not working for you guys? China's foreign ministry, Trump is 100% controlled by Israel. And by the way, for all the people who hate my messaging and hate the way that I talk about the anti-Semitism hoax and how I talk about what I view as rotten Jewish institutions, you guys should read what they say on Red Note if you're ever bored. By the way, if you don't know, people in China, they don't really use the term Zionist, just to FYI. Just let you know how angry they are about this conflict. They don't even use the word Zionist. I'm going to leave it there. The global community turned against Israel, and Zionism has made Jewish people more unsafe than any fucking movement since the era of the Nazis. And it's not even close.